Welcome to this Knit With Me video accompanying the Mildi scarf pattern. My name is Sandra. I live in Iceland, and this is my first pattern design. I'm so grateful to those of you who have supported me by purchasing the pattern on Ravelry. I truly appreciate the support and the kindness. I realize that it is possible to knit this scarf only by using the instructions in this video, but I trust that if you are able, you will purchase the pattern as well. I also know that economic situations are varied. And if you are unable to purchase the pattern, but find this video of value, I would be thankful if you would share the pattern link with others, or if you would keep me in mind when your situation changes and when you are able to purchase a pattern. So whether you were able to purchase the pattern or not, I'm happy to see you here. And I hope that you will enjoy knitting the Mildi scarf. Mildi is the Icelandic word for gentleness or self-compassion, and it is a reminder to be kind to ourselves and to others. Often, it's easier to show others kindness, so it is my hope that this little project will serve as a reminder to extend that kindness to ourselves. Mildi is a gentle nudge to let things take the time that they need, to embrace imperfect stitches, and to simply keep going. The scarf is worked in a broken rib with increases on every right side row. The broken rib pattern is a row of knit stitches on the front and a rib on the wrong side. And please, when you're knitting this, keep in mind that this pattern grows quite a bit when blocked. So if you are measuring to see how big your scarf is getting, make sure that you are stretching the stitches. I would like to show you my samples that I made. So this first one that I made was out of Malabrigo Mechita, which is a 100% superwash merino single ply, which makes it a bit plump and juicy. It's very good for this kind of pattern as it keeps its shape very well. This is the color dried orange, and this was leftover yarn from another project. This scarf is 44 grams, so a 50-gram skein will do nicely for this. The wingspan from tip to tip is 96 centimeters. So 96 centimeters from tip to tip, which is 37 3/4 inches. And the depth of this is 35 centimeters or 13 3/4 inches. So from the middle top to the middle bottom. And as you see, like this will stretch. So if I would have aggressively blocked this, it would have been larger. But I did not. I just washed this and then I just laid it on a bed and I did not pin this one at all. So this is the first one that I did when I was testing this pattern, seeing what stitch pattern I would like to do and things like that. And I really like this size. My second sample that I knit was this purple one. It's from Sistrabund, who is an Icelandic dyer, and this is a mix of merino and linen. The color is vonar, which means hopes or someone who is hoping, which I think is beautiful. This is a little bit larger than the orange one, but just because I know it's a little bit smaller. But it's just the properties of the yarn are a little bit different. And it's not a big difference. It's just this purple one is 90 centimeters, 35.5 inches from tip to tip, and it is 14.5 inches depth, so 37 centimeters from the middle to the bottom. My third sample that I knit was this red one, and this is a sock base from Garnbúðettu. It's 85% merino and 15% nylon. And this is the color Leiðin að Júní number 2. So this is the second road to June. It was try number 2 when she was doing her, she does monthly skeins of yarn in a certain, like in a different color. And this was one of the trial, like one of the steps towards June. This one is also quite squishy. The merino samples are very squishy and stretchy and cozy to wear. They are very warm. This one is 104 centimeters across, which is 41 inches. So this one is a little bit bigger than the other ones across, and it is 40 centimeters deep, which is 15 3/4. So this one, again, is a little bit bigger, but this one was stretched more when I was drying it, when I was blocking it. I pinned it in place and I put blocking wires in. So you can see that there's a little bit of a difference in the size. So it's a little bit bigger. And then my sample, the last sample that I have knit is this one from Pure Silk from Knitting for Olive. This one is quite a bit bigger than the other one. This one is 117 centimeters, which is 46 inches, and it's 49 centimeters deep, which is 19 1/4 inches. I was a little bit worried when I was knitting this one because it's such a loose gauge. So as I said earlier, gauge doesn't matter, but you can see how flowy and loose this fabric is compared to, for example, this one, or this one. This one is not quite as flowy. But I really like the way that this came out. So even though this is the biggest scarf, it's also the lightest one. So all in all, I used 38 grams for this silk scarf. I used 49 grams for the red scarf. I used 44 grams for this purple one. And I used 44 grams for this orange one. So even though they are very similar in size, and this one is the largest, it's also the lightest. So with one skein of Knitting for Olive Pure Silk, you can get a whole scarf and probably about, I don't know, a quarter of another one. This is what is left over from a 100-gram skein of this merino and linen. And this is the leftovers from a 50-gram skein of this merino and nylon sock base. So all in all, I'm very happy with all of these samples. The gauge, just for those of you who are curious, this one and this one is 22 stitches per 10 centimeters. This orange one is 18 stitches per 10 centimeters. And this Knitting for Olive one is 16 stitches per 10 centimeters. 10 centimeters is 4 inches. So 16, 18, and 22. And moving on to the materials that you will need to knit this scarf. As I have said, it's knit from fingering weight yarn, but it's possible to knit from any thickness. It just changes the size of the scarf. I have a tester who knit this out of DK, and it's a beautiful, beautiful, warm and squishy scarf that she got from her sample. So I have looked through my collection of yarn and brought out different types of yarn that I'm going to show you. Like these are all yarns that I would personally pick to make a scarf from. But first, 3.5 millimeter needles. I prefer the cord to be a bit long when I'm making shawls or scarves, but of course that is just personal preference. So the cord that I have in right now is 93 centimeters, which I believe is 37 inches. So you need 3.5 millimeter, which is US 4 needles. You will also need 4 stitch markers and a tapestry needle. And then just your yarn. So I have gone through my collection. I have picked some yarns that I think would be good options for this. So one of them is this Queensland Collection Kathmandu Fingering, which is merino, silk, and cashmere tweed. So it's 85% wool, 10% silk, and 5% cashmere. I think this would make a lovely scarf. I also have some Knitting for Olive merino. This is a bit finer than the fingering weight yarn that I used. It's the same as the Knitting for Olive silk. This is 250 meters for 50 grams. So I might size down my needle size to either 3.25, which is US 3, or maybe even to 3 millimeters, which is US 2.5. And then I have this Filcolana Mercy, which is 50% superwash merino and 50% Pima cotton. So in one skein of yarn, we have 200 meters in 50 grams. So this would make a perfect scarf as well. And you will get a whole scarf out of just one skein. So these are 3 options. I also have this Isager Bomulin, which is 65% cotton and 35% linen. I think this would make a great option for a warm weather scarf. So for a summertime scarf, or maybe for springtime when it's starting to really warm up, but you would like something on your neck anyway. I think that this scarf is great for autumn in the northern hemisphere or spring in the southern hemisphere, wherever you are right now. And of course, it's good through all seasons. But I think releasing it now is it's a good time. I think both because it will be able to bridge through autumn and also through spring. Another option that I took out of my yarn collection that I think is a yarn that is available in many places, because a lot of my collection is hand-dyed Icelandic from Icelandic dyers, and I know that that's not accessible everywhere. So another option that I have here is Cascade Yarns Heritage, which is 75% superwash merino and 25% nylon. And it's 200 meters for 100 grams. No, it's 400 meters for a 100 gram skein. So this, you could get 2 scarves out of this one. I also have Madeline Tosh. This is also a great yarn for a scarf like this. It's 384 meters to 100 gram skein. Superwash merino single ply. So this will make a fabric that is like the orange scarf that I had. And then I also have this beautiful skein that has been in my collection for 1.5 years. The plan was to make some socks with this, but I think that this would be perfect for a Mildi scarf. It's 425 meters for 100 grams, and this is from Dóttir Dye Works, who is a really talented Icelandic dyer as well. And everything about this color is perfect to me. I love the browns and the yellows and the orange. I also have this beautiful pink from Gartbúð Eddu, which is the same base as the red scarf. So this will give me a plump and juicy scarf. It's 400 meters to 100 grams, 85% merino, superwash, and 15% nylon. And then I have one more option from my collection, and this is a hand-dyed mulberry silk from Telma Steinman. It is 400 meters for 100 grams, and one of my testers actually used this yarn base for their scarf, and they decided to size down to 3mm needles, so US 2.5, just because it gave a nicer fabric. She thought it was a bit too loose when it was knit on 3.5, so she got a beautiful gauge, and it's a gorgeous shawl, gorgeous scarf that she made. And I think this would also be perfect in warmer climates. So these are the options that I have right now that I was thinking would be great from my collection. And for this video, I am going to cast on with Filcolana Mercy, which again is 50% superwash merino and 50% Pima cotton. So this will be a bit less warm than the 100% merino that I have. But I think it would be really nice to wear in autumn. So putting these all back. I have my needles, I have my stitch markers, my tapestry needle, and my yarn. And this is all I will need for my scarf. If you are not familiar with this type of construction, it is a shawl that is worked top down like this. We've cast on just a few stitches here in the middle of the top, and then we do increase rows on every right side row. So we increase on every right side row to each side of the border stitches, and then on either side of the middle stitch as well. So we do 4 increases on every right side row. Here you can see this garter edge here. And so you can see that there is an increase here in every other row. And this is also mirrored here in the center stitch. So when we start this scarf, we want to cast on 5 stitches. And a lot of people do slip knots when they do the cast on, but I just prefer to insert my needle under the yarn from the left to the right, and then do a little 180 twist. And that is my first stitch. And then I cast on number 2, 3, 4, and 5. So now I have 5 stitches. The next setup row is just to knit these 5 stitches. The next row, row number 2, I knit 2. These will be our border stitches. And then I place a stitch marker. And I do a yarn on. So when I do a yarn on, it's just I put the yarn over my needle, and then I am going to put another stitch marker here and knit this stitch. So this is our center stitch. And then I put another stitch marker. I do a yarn on, yarn over, and put the 4th stitch marker. And then I knit these 2 border rows. So you can see in this in this row, we increased by 2 stitches. In order to get a beautiful center stitch like this, we purl the center stitch on the wrong side and we knit the center stitch on the right side. So now I am on the wrong side. I am going to knit 2. We have 7 stitches on the needle, remember? So we will knit 2, slip this marker, and then I will knit 1 and slip the marker. And this is the center stitch, so I'm going to purl it. And then I'm going to slip the marker, knit the next one, slip this marker, and knit our 2 border stitches. The next row is a right side row, and in all right side rows we knit all of the stitches, while at the same time also doing an increase. So we are going to knit these 2 border stitches, and then we are going to slip this marker. We are going to do a yarn over, and we are going to knit this one. And now we are at the stitch marker before the middle stitch, the center stitch. We will do another yarn over, move the marker, knit the center stitch, move the marker, do a yarn over, knit 1, slip the marker, do a yarn over, knit 1, and do another yarn over. Then we slip the marker and we knit the 2 border stitches. And now we are back on a wrong side row, and we have increased 4 stitches. That means that we have 11 stitches now on the needle. If you are unsure, you can count them. So 2 border stitches, there should be 3 stitches between this marker and the next one. 1 stitch here in the middle, 3 and 2. So we knit the 2 border stitches, we slip the marker, and then we knit 1, purl 1, knit 1, slip the marker, purl 1, this is our center stitch, and then we knit 1, purl 1, knit 1, slip the marker, and knit 2. So now we have finished the setup rows, and we are into just the pattern repeat. So this is a 4-row repeat. We will knit all of the rows, all of the stitches on the first row, we will knit and do yarn over increases. So knit 2 border stitches, do a yarn over, knit until the marker, do a yarn over, slip the marker, knit the center stitch, slip the marker, do a yarn over, knit until the next marker, do a yarn over, slip the marker, and knit the 2 border stitches. Now we are on the wrong side. We knit the 2 border stitches, and then this row, according to pattern, you purl 1, knit 1, purl 1, knit 1, and purl 1, and you slip the marker. And now because we are at the center stitch, we will purl this as well, because we always purl the center stitch. We slip the marker, and then we start again. We purl, knit, purl, knit, and purl, slip the marker, and knit 2 stitches, the border stitches. Now we are on a right side row again. That means we do the increases and we knit all of the stitches. So we knit 2 border stitches, slip the marker, we do a yarn over, and then we knit until the next marker. We do a yarn over, slip the marker, knit the center stitch, slip the marker, we do a yarn over, knit until the next marker, and we do a yarn over. We slip the marker and we knit the 2 border stitches. Now we are on the wrong side again. We knit the 2 border stitches, slip the marker, and now we knit 1, purl 1, knit 1, purl 1, knit 1, purl 1, knit 1, slip the marker. We are at the center stitch, which is always purled on the back side. So we purl that, slip the marker, and then we continue. We knit 1, purl 1, knit 1, purl 1, knit 1, purl 1, knit 1, slip the marker, and knit the 2 border stitches. And that's it. We repeat this pattern until we have 48 increases. So if you are counting the holes here in the middle, make sure that you don't count these 2 that were the setup rows, but you can count after that. So we have done 2 increases. So once you get a total of 46 increases or 23 repeats of the pattern, you will be ready for the next part. So I'm just going to continue. This is a right side row, so I'm knitting the 2 border stitches. I am doing a yarn over, and then I knit until the center stitch. I do a yarn over, I slip the marker, I knit the center stitch, I slip the marker, I do a yarn over, and then I knit until the next marker. I do a yarn over, slip the marker, and knit the 2 border stitches. It's really that simple. So I hope that you enjoy a few hours of this very repetitive pattern, and then I will come back and show you the next part. Okay, so now we are back at day 3. I have finished knitting all of the repeats. There's not so much left of my yarn, but I think this should be enough. And if it's not, then I'm just going to go and rip back one of the pattern repeats for my bind off. So this is what it's looking like right now. I'm really excited about this yarn. I wasn't so sure when I bought it, but I'm really enjoying knitting with it. This is Filcolana Mercy, and it's been a really enjoyable knit. So now that I'm finished with all of my pattern repeats, you will see here, if I count all of these holes here along the edge, I should have 48 holes, because remember we had 2 increases before we started doing the pattern repeats. So the setup rows have 2 increases, and then we have all of the pattern repeats. With the bind off, no, not with the bind off, with the border that we are doing. What I wanted was to have a bit of a symmetry here. So we have all of these yarn over increases here and here. And so I wanted that to be mirrored around the edging of the scarf. So now what we are going to do now is we are going to do this eyelet row, and then we are going to do some garter stitch rows before we bind off. So now that we are at this eyelet row here, I say in the pattern that it looks better if we finish with row number, with a row 9. And the reason for that is because we are going to be doing an eyelet row, and I just think it looks more beautiful when the knit stitch lays on top of the two together. So I think, you know, the number of stitches will work whether you stop on row 9 or row 7, but I just think it lays beautifully if you stop with a row 9. So what we are going to do now is we are going to knit the 2 border rows. We're going to knit the 2 border stitches, I mean, and then we are going to slip the marker. And we are going to yarn over like we do always at the beginning of the right side row. And then we are going to knit 2 together and yarn on through this whole section towards the middle. So knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 2 together, yarn over. So we are going to do this until 1 before the marker. So knit 2 together and yarn over until 1 before the marker. Now that we have 1 stitch before the marker, we will knit this 1 stitch and do a yarn over. Slip the marker, knit the middle stitch, slip the marker, do a yarn over, and knit 1. Now, if you see here, the knit stitch always lays on top in this decrease. So when we knit two together, then the knit stitch is on top. To get the same look on the other side, we are going to yarn over, and then we are going to slip, slip, and knit. And that's just so that the knit stitch is still laying on top. So if we would do a yarn over and knit two together, you can see that the purled stitch is sitting on top, and I just don't think that that's as pretty. But if you would rather do that, then of course that is up to you. And if you do decide to do maybe one increase row less, then what you would do to get this same look is you would just mirror. So this side you would be doing slip, slip, knit, and this side you would be doing knit two together. And that's just so that the knit stitch is laying on top. So yarn over, slip, slip, knit, yarn over, slip, slip, knit, yarn over, slip, slip, knit, and we are repeating this until we get to the marker. I'm almost to the end of this row. I always feel like I should be hurrying so that I'm not wasting your time, knowing full well that I will cut out all of this time that it has taken me to knit to the end. But I feel like I'm trying to knit as fast as I can so that I can do this quickly, so that you're not waiting for me. Uh, and I know that that's not it's a non-issue because I will cut everything out, but here we are anyway. So I am knitting now the two border stitches. Now we are on the next right side row. So we are almost finished. So this row is just, we knit the two border stitches, we slip the marker, we do a yarn over, and then we knit to the marker, we do a yarn over there, slip the marker, knit the center stitch, do a yarn over. I'm sure this sounds very familiar. So I am going to finish up with that. And then the wrong side row will just be the same as the one before this. So we will just knit all of the stitches back. So I will be back with you when it's time for a bind off. So knitting this whole row with the yarn over increases and then knitting the next row completely back. And then I will be back with you. Okay, so now that we have finished the border rows, um, it's time for the bind off. And in the pattern, I say to bind off using your favorite stretchy bind off method. Um, I'm going to show you my favorite stretchy bind off method. The reason why we want a stretchy bind off is because broken rib grows quite a bit when it's blocked, and you don't want the stitches around the border to be so tight that you don't have any room for this stretch when you block. So that is why we want the stretchy bind off, because it opens up quite beautifully. You can see the contrast of what it looks like now unblocked. And then once I have blocked it, it will stretch out like this. So you want to have a stretchy bind off just so that you have room for this growth. What I prefer to do as a stretchy bind off is that I knit the first 2 stitches normally, and then I slip them back onto my left hand needle, and I knit them together through the back loop. And then I knit the next stitch, and I slip the two stitches on my right hand needle to my left hand needle, and I knit together through the back loop. I knit another one, slip those back, knit together through the back loop. I knit the next stitch, I slip the 2 needles back and knit together through the back loop. Knit one, slip them back and knit together through the back loop. And I just make sure that I'm not pulling the yarn at all when I do this as well. So you will continue binding off with whatever method you choose, whether it's this one or another stretchy bind off. And then it's time to block the scarf. I'm going to share how I block at the end of this video, but I don't think I need to talk so much over it. So thank you for joining me here. I hope that you enjoy knitting your Mildi scarf, and I hope that it will come as a reminder to be gentle with yourself and show yourself kindness, show the people around you kindness. And I hope that when you wear it, it just feels a bit warm, like the feeling that we get when we are kind to ourselves and to each other. So thank you again for being here. Thank you for joining me. And thank you for purchasing the pattern. I truly, truly appreciate the support. And yeah, may your knitting time bring you gentleness and calm and just a feeling of compassion and a feeling of being enough. So with that, I am going to leave you with some footage of blocking my shawl, and I hope that you enjoy your little Mildi scarf. Thank you.